As a dispatching company, should you send an invoice to the carrier/driver every week, every 2 weeks? I think you should do it every week. The percentage that you're taking from the loads, it's common practice in United States to get paid every week or every couple of weeks. Here in trucking, it's usually every week for company drivers, owner operators, and such. And I don't see a problem with sending an invoice every week at the end of the week, or maybe like at the beginning of the week for the last week. That way you can finish up a whole week, all the way until Sunday night, and then on Monday or Tuesday, just send them an invoice so you can get paid by that Friday, that same week. Can you do a video on how you invoice everyone? Yes, I can. I use a simple software, TMS, called truckingoffice.com. Check them out. And then, when I get a chance, I'll do a video on that. Do dispatchers need our own factoring, or do we use our carrier's factoring through notice of assignment to check the brokers? The dispatchers, if you're a dispatching company with no authority, then you don't have your own factoring company. Your carrier or your own operator, they have their own factoring company. And then when you book a load with a broker, for that carrier, you have to check with their factoring company if they will work with that broker, if they will buy an invoice. And then brokers, if it's a new setup, brokers usually require the notice of assignment, and then the carrier, or in this case, if you're booking loads on their behalf, then you would forward them that notice of assignment. What services do you use for your phone number? Right now, I work mostly off of my cell phone. I used a lot of phone companies, different ones, in all my trucking businesses, and then most of them were not satisfactory. The only one, and that's the last one that I used, was Nextiva. And Nextiva was great. I took a monthly subscription. It was around $40 per line. And then, because, if you get an annual or a 2-year subscription, you get a better deal, but then you don't know, you might change your mind and then you can't get out of it. So I took a monthly plan that was a little bit higher, and the call quality was great. And they have a nice website, like an account where you can check everything, and they were reliable. And there is a link in each of my videos if you want to sign up Nextiva. Hi sir, I got someone from Upwork that wants to work with me, but he wants to take my interview on Monday. I'm a little scared. I don't know what he is going to ask because I have no experience. So if this is your first interview for dispatching, trucking related position, then everyone knows right now that there are a lot of people out there that really have no experience. And as long as you show them that you're willing to learn, be confident, don't be arrogant, but be confident in what you know, and then also show them that you're willing to learn, and that you are a person to be trusted, and that you will show up on time, and that you will listen to what they're telling you, when they train you, and then you're going to implement all those advices and suggestions that you're getting from them. It's very puzzling that brokers do not post load-related particulars. That way it would save time for the dispatcher and the broker to answer questions about those. So the phone call would only contain price negotiations, pickup delivery times, etc. You're absolutely right. Some brokers will post pickup time, delivery, weight is usually posted, rate. I feel that they should do that too, especially if there's something that's out of ordinary, like if there are several pickups or deliveries. That sometimes brokers will, like usually carriers are supposed to have at least $100,000 in cargo coverage, and that's 99% of the time enough. But sometimes they will ask for like 250,000 for high value loads. And there's this one broker, and there are other ones who do it too, but this one broker does it all the time, and I know not to call that load anymore. They always want, because this is copper, and then copper is very expensive, and they need high coverage, and they will post a load, but they won't say anything about that. Only when you call them, they say, do you have 250K in insurance? Well, I don't, and most companies don't. Bigger companies, they usually do have, but small companies like us, they don't. And, why not say it right away? Why not tell me there are a few pickups? Why not give me the right weight and include the pickup and delivery time? So we're prepared. Usually, there are a few reasons. Broker might be too busy. They might forget. They might not know those particulars until you ask them. Then they have to look it up. Or sometimes they don't do it on purpose, so they want you to call them. So once you call them, then you already did, especially if they know that they're not going to cover this load easily, if it's something out of ordinary, and they know that it's going to be hard to cover that load, they want you to call them. So maybe when you call them, they will try to talk you into it. Maybe they'll, ask you about things, and then you will tell them, you tell them, hey, I don't want this load, and they will tell you why. And then you say, it's too heavy. And then they're like, oh yeah, well, they will load you legally, and no one came back, no one was complaining. They will use these sales tactics to talk you into this, and they're hoping that they will do that. So that might be another reason why they don't post the particulars. Can you please tell me around how much time it took for you to book all these 3 loads? He's talking about one of the videos where I was recording my work day, my booking process. Some days it takes me 15 minutes, and some days I'm staring at my screen frustrated for hours. Well, that was such a day for me today. There are loads, there are a lot of loads, and I can call them, but whoever you call, they're not answering, or picks up late, delivers late, the load is gone, something is off, and it's normal, and it will always be like that. Sometimes you book few loads in 15-20 minutes, and sometimes you look for one load for hours, and it's part of the business, and it just depends on the markets, on how many trucks are there available, how many loads, and maybe even luck. My advice to you is to start early as you can. If everyone starts at 8, you start at 7 at least. That way you will not miss some of the loads. You may not book more loads than you would usually, but at least you know that you didn't miss any loads before that. That way you know that there was at least nothing there, and you can tell your driver, or you can tell yourself or your boss that, hey, I started earlier, I gave my everything I could, and I still couldn't find anything. So that's one of the advantages about starting early. How many drivers can one person dispatch? One person can dispatch 10 drivers, providing that that person only does that and nothing else, and that person has a lot of experience, is very productive, does things efficiently, is not lost, and providing that that person does not do it for a long time. I mean, if you do it for a couple of months, or 5-6 months, maybe even a year, but it will drain you. It's a lot of stress. So I think 7 trucks would be maximum for one person, so they can function properly. Like I said, you can do more. I'm sure there are people who do it every day, but I wouldn't want to do it because you have a life too, and this is a very stressful job. And with 10 trucks, it will get to you, and you will be annoyed and frustrated, and you will take it out on your drivers, maybe your family. And I just don't advise that you go over 7 trucks. Even 7 is a lot, but 7 is a decent number of trucks. Do I have to contact the factoring company before signing the rate con? Usually, yes. If you don't know the broker, it's highly advisable that you ask the factoring company if they are going to buy that invoice. You may work with someone for a while, and they're okay, but then all of a sudden their score goes down, their payment history goes bad, and now all of a sudden your factoring company or whoever you're working with, their factoring company will not buy any invoices anymore from them, and then you have a problem because you booked a load, driver did the load, and you are about to invoice it, and now the factoring company will not accept it because you didn't check the broker before you booked the load. And then you can tell them, hey, well, we booked so many loads with them, they were okay, and I just assumed that you will take it. And then they're going to come back to you and tell you, well, you have to check every time before you book a load. And they are right. It's stupid, I agree, but they are right technically, because anytime their history, their reputation might go bad, and then you're stuck with that invoice. And then usually what factoring company do is they will not buy that invoice from you. You would have to send that invoice directly to the broker, but it's still payable to the factoring company. So you send it to the broker, and then once they pay that invoice to the factoring company, then you or the carrier will get that money. So you would have to wait like 30 days or more for that to get paid. That's how it works. Unless, C.H. Robinson, J.B. Hunt, EQL, those big names, usually they're okay. But technically you have to. And I know no one does that, but they should, especially if you work with a factoring company, you should check them before you even book the load. Like say you're calling that load, you see they have it posted, and then, while you're on the phone with them, usually factoring companies have websites with access to the database, and then you can see some factoring companies say like buy or no buy or call first. Some have grades like RTS, A, B, C, D, E, F. I don't know if they go until F or no. But then depending on their grade, then if you're going to book the load. So even before you call the load or while you're on the phone, then you can check their reputation before you even book the load. But then if you book the load and then you're about to sign it, you had no time to do it, then at least before you sign it, then check out the broker. And or like if it's a new setup, as you're doing the setup, you get the packet, you get the MC number, then you check it, and then you tell them if it doesn't come out okay, you can tell them, hey, our factoring, they're no buy list. Then they might come back with a solution for you. They're going to be like, hey, we can do quick pay, or we can give you half money upon the pickup and half money upon the delivery with a com check. So some you can ask, if you really need the load, and then these guys are somewhat trustable. You have a gut feeling that they're going to be okay. Then you can ask them for a com check when your truck comes to the pickup, and then it loads the load. Then they will give you half of the money, 50% of the rate on a com check, and then you can deposit in your bank right away and see if there is money. And then don't let your truck leave until you get that first 50%. And then once they deliver, then you tell them, hey, the truck is there, delivered. I'm not going to send you the bill of lading until you get me the other half. And then sometimes you can do it like that if the factoring company will not buy an invoice from that broker. Do you recommend any software to keep track of truckloads? Truckingoffice.com. Checked it. I use them. They're not perfect, but they're simple enough for me. I have a small company, and for me it works fine. So you can check them out and see if you like them. How much do you charge per load? I have my own authority, and then I charge depending on what services I provide for those owner operators, and they only run under my authority. So usually it used to be like 10%, but now it's getting more to like 12 or even more. So I think 12 to 14 is a safe percentage to charge owner operators if they drive under your own authority. If you're a dispatching company only, and then you don't have your own authority, you book loads under your carrier's authority, then it's usually less. It can be anywhere from 5 to 10%, and then you kind of decide on how much you're going to charge them according to your experience, what you can provide them, how many loads you can find them. It's a good idea if you're just start low, like 5-6%, but then as you get a big carrier base, then your new carriers, then you give them a higher rate. Next question, can you do a video about IFTA reporting? IFTA reporting is something that I do directly with my state through their website, and I imagine other states have a similar feature, and I know there are programs and there are services, companies who provide those kind of services, and I'm really not the person to ask about that. I'm sorry, I don't know much about that. Like I said, I do it directly in Michigan's web portal that's specifically designed for that, and all I do is put in my miles and the fuel gallons for all trucks, and then it calculates the rate. I pay it right there, and that's it. As a new dispatching company, when signing up for that, will I need an MC number to log in to use the load board? I ask because should I get a couple of drivers prior to even getting that board? I know without drivers I can't dispatch, but I was thinking I could still get that because I know I can find drivers within the first month of having that, but also don't want to purchase it if I can't log into it, so I can kind of get familiar with the user interface. Thanks for your help. You're welcome. So I called that board the other day, and I made a video, and it's not out yet. It should be out soon. What load boards require what from you as a dispatching company without an MC number, and that board does not require you to have an MC number. It does require you to have a company, a registered company, like an LLC, and then they will just check your federal employee identification number and maybe like your articles of incorporation from your state or something like that. So they will check out your company, make sure you're a legit company, and they will give you a username and a password for a fee, of course. And then I recommend you get it before you start looking for owners, because you can't really. It's like a question that I was sometimes struggling with, because I have my own trucks. So, and then I'm about to buy a truck, but I don't have a driver yet. So there's always a question: should I get a driver first or a truck first? Because if I get a truck first and I don't have a driver, the truck is just gonna sit there, and then I have to pay for the truck. But if I get a driver, how am I gonna get a driver? I don't even have a truck. Are they gonna wait for me? Because it takes at least a couple of weeks or more to process, the title and insurance, and if you're getting a loan. But what I always do, I always get a truck first now, because I can't. If you're looking for drivers, you can't tell a driver, "Hey, I'm going to have a truck," or maybe I'm going to have a truck in 2-3 weeks. No one's going to wait for you for that long. You have to have a truck ready. When you get a driver, you tell them, "Hey, the truck is ready. You can go into that truck tomorrow or in 2 days. As soon as the drug test comes back negative, then you can start driving the truck. The truck is ready. Same thing here. You should have, I think, that board or whatever you're planning to use first, and then start looking for carriers. And there is a cool feature. If you get that, like the power board, you can go look for trucks. Like usually, you can post loads, you can post trucks, and you can search loads, but you can also search trucks. So you go like Chicago, Illinois, and then look for trucks. And then when you see trucks that are looking for loads there, that means these carriers are looking for loads. They need loads. Then there's a phone number. You can call them up, say, hey, I can help you find a load. Do you want me to look for a load for you? And then some of them might say yes. And that's another way to find carriers, using that board like that. I would like to ask, if I start a company with a goal to get my own authority and hire one owner-operator. From what I understand, I have to charge them the cost of the cargo insurance, so I just see how much would $20,000 a week be, and deduct it weekly before releasing the check. Also, if I only have one owner-operator, do I need to provide them fuel cards, or they can use their business cards? As far as the cargo and liability, because liability you have to have by law, cargo you don't, but brokers will require, and you have to have it for your own insurance. Liability and cargo, you have to have both of them. And what you usually do, you just divide the yearly amount, because like when you bind a policy, they will tell you how much they charge you for a year for a truck, and if that's like $20,000 per year, you divide it by 52 weeks, and that's how much you charge. You deduct it from your own operator's paycheck. Keep in mind, you have to deduct it for each week. So, for example, if you're off 1 week, they don't work 1 week, like on the next paycheck, you have to charge them for 2 weeks. Because even though they were not working, you still have to pay that, and you still have to deduct it from them. If they are off for a longer period of time, like maybe like longer than 3 weeks, I would say, then some insurances will let you take them off the insurance and then add them again once they are ready. But then you have to talk to your insurance about it, how would that work, and if they allow you, because your owner operator will save a lot of money that way, especially if they are not driving, and then you charge them this fee, and it's a lot of money. What kind of chair you're sitting in? Currently building my office, and I'm looking for a good office chair. This chair should be in the description there in the video. I got it off Amazon. It's comfortable. The only thing that kind of bothers me is this squeaking. If you can live with that. And it's a fairly brand new chair. I don't know why it does that, but it's very comfortable, and it's still same as brand new. It's a really good chair. But yeah, this is what bothers me. Hi, I have a question about hours of service. For example, if you pick up and delivery places are situated in different time zones, how to properly count hours of service? If you move from east to west, the time is going backward, and on the contrary, time goes forward. All trucking authorities are required to use their home terminal time, no matter where the driver is from, no matter where the driver lives, no matter where the driver is currently. So I am in Michigan, I'm on Eastern time zone, and let's say my driver goes to Texas or California, or my driver lives in Colorado, they use my home terminal time. They always use Eastern time. So whenever they update their logbooks, they use the home terminal time. Nowadays, these electronic logbooks, I think they do it automatically, but it used to be in logbooks that you would kind of have to figure out what time is it in your time zone. This is it for now. I think this is enough questions for this time. and keep them coming. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, subscribe to newsletters. Keep coming back, because I have a lot of more plans for the channel, for the videos, and my ideas keep I keep getting these ideas the whole time, and then whenever you ask me a question, that gives me maybe another idea for a totally separate video just about that question. So yeah, I'll see you around, and thanks for watching.